All right, hello and welcome everyone. I am Praveen Malu. I'm a product marketing manager with Microsoft Teams. And joining me today, we have a couple of special guests. We have Patience Wooton from Dentsu Aegis Network, one of our beloved customers of Microsoft Teams. And also Laith L. He's from our Teams engineering team. So he'll be talking about guest access capabilities if you've heard about that in the news. So they'll be joining me on the stage to talk about how Teams has taken off at Dentsu Aegis Network, and we'll be looking at guest access demos later during the presentation as well. But before we get started, I just wanted to kind of take a quick pulse and see how many of you are using Microsoft Teams today. That's awesome. It's great to see the attendance and the number of people who are using Microsoft Teams today. So let's get started without further ado. Before we dive into Microsoft Teams and start looking at demos and what's coming down the road, I just want to take a couple of minutes and talk about our vision and strategy and why we are investing in Microsoft Teams and how it has been born. So if you look at the industry today, the nature of work is changing. It's shifting dramatically. Over the last 5 to 10 years, it has taken a huge shift from how people collaborated within different organizations to how people collaborate today. So we have this new culture of work, which is pretty much surfacing across every industry today. And part of that is a couple of key trends that you would be seeing in the industry. The first one being the shift from individual productivity to team productivity. As an individual, you would be familiar with working in a silo, sitting in your office a decade ago and creating and collaborating, versus now, which is a lot about teamwork and how you can function within a team and be a part of it. You have to be collaborative to be successful in an organization today. The second bullet is, there's a need for simplicity in the solutions today. A lot of people work with a lot of applications, a lot of productivity tools, and there is a hunger in the industry today to have a simple solution which lets them get their work done. Now, if you look at some of the numbers in the industry today, you'll see that's very reflective of what we are seeing. And this is based on a lot of research that we have done internally and externally as well, which is the number of teams that you are a part of, you and me as an information worker, that's twice as much as it was a decade ago. So you're definitely part of more teams, and you'd be seeing that in your workspace. I'm definitely seeing that within Microsoft, that, hey, I'm definitely working and collaborating with more number of teams across the company than ever before. There's also a 50% increase in collaborative work. And also, 5x, there's 5 times more likelihood that you will be successful if you have the right tool set to be able to collaborate. And if you look at the kind of teams you're collaborating with, you're looking at internal and external members. So you're not just collaborating within your organization. You're breaking the silos. You're working with your partners and customers. You're bringing in part-time contractors as well. So the definition of who you're collaborating with has expanded significantly. Secondly, this won't be surprising to any of you, geographically distributed teams. So you're not working in a co-located space physically. You're working with your teams all over the globe, from China, Latam, EMEA, North America, and bringing them all together in one digital environment where it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference where you're located at. And the last one, which is diverse workforce, you would be seeing increasing number of millennials in your organization joining the workforce. And it's just not millennials, right? It's the multi-generational workforce. For the first time in the industry, we have 5 generations working together to create and collaborate, from baby boomers to millennials and Gen X. To look at some of the complexity of point-to-point solutions and what that brings, I want to play a video, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate with this. in terms of the problems that we have with not having the right solutions in place when you have all these changing parameters in your workspace.
Work is already hard enough. And when your team uses disparate tools, productivity declines. And security risks rise.
No, I don't know what your password might be. I don't know where you wrote it down either.
What do you mean the document?
How would I know that? It could be a billion combinations. It might be at home.
I think
Sure.
that's a secure application.
Now, new employees will need to sign up for 15 different apps. Just so you know, IT doesn't support any of them.
All right, let's get this conference call started.
Don't fall into the trap of getting more apps.
Colleen just pinged me. She doesn't have this app, so she can't join in on the call.
Only to get less done.
I don't know where Janet saved the logo redesign before she left. Oh, I didn't realize we could use Social Switch at the office. Okay, I will see if it's attached in that conversation. 1 second. I don't see it, but I do see cat gifs.
My request. All right, cool. You're attempting. Yeah, I got it. Okay, thank you. Final list. 7. Sorry.
Microsoft Office believes collaboration should be easy for people and secure for business. So we made Office 365, a familiar and connected suite of tools that helps teams get work done together, collaborate, share, and sync documents, host meetings seamlessly, and communicate with anyone, anywhere. And you can breathe easier knowing your team is using the most secured cloud platform from Office 365 ever. Achieve more together with Office 365.
Now, how many of you could relate to that video? I certainly could, because I've been in the industry for a long time, and I've seen how shadow IT can really result in situations like this, where you want to have the right tools. You start using your own tools in the workspace to be productive, because as I was saying earlier, there is a need for simplicity. People are hungry for simpler tools, which lets them get their work done. They don't want complex tools. And as an IT organization, if you're not providing that, it results in this friction where you don't have connected solutions. It's fragmented, and there's a lot of friction in productivity as well. So with that in mind, we introduced Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 is essentially bringing together the best of Office 365 and Windows and EMS. So essentially, the best of inking experiences with Windows, Office 365, the most comprehensive and secure productivity platform. And then with EMS, which is your enterprise mobility suite, you are bringing in all the enterprise-grade security features as well. So if you look at the 4 core pillars that we have within Microsoft 365, the first one is unlocking creativity. It's very important in the organization. Built for teamwork. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. There's a drastic increase in the amount of teamwork. And it's all integrated for simplicity, so you're not in a situation where you're looking for, hey, who has this file? Can you grant me access? It's just one end-to-end productivity platform that you're working with, and not siloed applications. And intelligent security, which is inbuilt with all these applications. Today, we're going to focus on built for teamwork. Now, when you look at Microsoft 365, it is the universal toolkit for teamwork. If you look at the entire portfolio of applications that we have within Microsoft 365, ranging from Outlook for email and calendar, you're all familiar with that. SharePoint for internet and content management. Yammer for connecting the entire organization together, the entire fabric of the company, bringing in your 100,000 people company and connecting them in one platform. With Office apps, you can co-author documents real time in the cloud. And Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork within Office 365. It is bringing together the best of Office 365, the applications that you already use, in one single hub, so that you can avoid situations like we saw in the video. And underlying all of this is our fundamentals, which is Office 365 Groups, which is powering the entire platforms group experiences. So wherever you have a need for a group of people to come together, you form a group and they show up across this platform. So in Outlook, in Microsoft Teams, in Yammer, for example. Microsoft Graph, you heard Satya talk about it during the keynote, how we are bringing together not just Office 365 Graph, but expanding on it with LinkedIn Graph, and so on and so forth. But Graph really connects the entire platform together so that we can work intelligently across these applications and not just look at, hey, OneDrive and SharePoint, but they all just seamlessly integrated. And security and compliance, which is something which you expect from Microsoft and Office 365, it's inbuilt with Office 365. Now, Microsoft Teams, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Microsoft Teams. For those of you who are new to Microsoft Teams, I just want to take a few minutes to introduce you to what it is and how we are looking at Teams in the entire portfolio. So Microsoft Teams, again, as I was saying earlier, it is the hub for teamwork within Office 365, bringing together the conversations, the people, the applications, the everyday tools and services that you're using today to collaborate. So everything a team needs, from people to chats to having communication needs, all of that is met within one platform, which is Microsoft Teams. So you have chat, calls, and meetings for today's Teams. So if you've heard our keynote yesterday from Laurie Wright and Bob Davis, from our leadership team, you would have heard them talk about intelligent communications, how we are moving from unified communications to intelligent communications, where we see our future and our vision kind of leading in that direction. And this is where we are bringing all of that within Microsoft Teams. And you will see some of that during my demo as well. It's integrated across all of your Office 365 applications. So what are we using today? For example, OneDrive, SharePoint, PowerPoint, Excel, all these applications, Power BI, Planner, all of these are integrated within Microsoft Teams so that you can really seamlessly bring all of the assets which are in any of these applications in one platform. So you don't have to switch context when you're collaborating. And that's something which you've been hearing a lot from information workers, which is context switching and information overload, where you have a ton of applications. You want to bring everything together in one team space where you have everything you need to be able to collaborate with your team members. And we're also working with a lot of partners to make sure that, hey, whatever apps you're using today, your teams are using, not just Microsoft applications. If you're using third-party applications to be productive, you bring those along as well within Microsoft Teams. So you have your end-to-end app portfolio within Microsoft Teams as well. It's also customizable. Every team is unique. Every team has its own needs. No two teams are the same. They have different needs, they have different pace and velocity, and they have different culture of working. With Microsoft Teams, we kept that in mind while building so that you have the power, as an end user, as an IT organization, you have the power to be able to customize Microsoft Teams as you see fit, as you see fitting your culture, which could be how it shows up when you log on to Teams, how you structure your teams and conversations within Teams as well. And in a couple of minutes, I'll show you a demo where things will become real in terms of what I mean by it becoming customizable. And this really is very powerful when you look at what you can do with just one platform. And it can look completely different team spaces depending on how you configure it. And finally, enterprise security and compliance. It's built on the fundamentals of Office 365, so using OneDrive and SharePoint and Exchange. So whatever compliance and security you expect, it all reflects back in Microsoft Teams as well. So things like e-discovery, legal hold, auditing, if you're looking at any of that, that also carries over from the platform, from the substrate to Microsoft Teams too. Now let's switch over to a demo. I'll quickly walk through the experience and touch on these few pillars, and we'll come back and kind of recap some of what we have seen. So here I am on the desktop client of Microsoft Teams. You can see I have 3 teams on the left rail. So if you orient yourself, I have the launch team, the human resources team, and the sales team. Now, the launch team is bolded, so it means that, hey, there's something going on in that team, and I need to pay attention. So I'm going to go over to the launch team and see, hey, what's happening in this team? You log on to your workspace when you come into your office, and I see that I have a few channels here. And channels are essentially your way of organizing your information. Where they may be your project work streams, they may be your departments, they could be your subject topics. You can really decide how you want to organize your information flow within a team. So I'll go to a team and see what that team looks like. You might be wondering, hey, what is a team? What does it mean to have a team? So here I am in the team, and this is essentially built on top of an Office 365 group. As I was mentioning earlier, groups is the fundamental underlying group management platform across Office. And a team is built on the same group. So if you have an existing group that you're working with, you have files and shared calendar, you can bring that along and build a team on top of it. So here I have a few members who are part of the group, and I can either be a member of the team, or I can be an owner of the team. As you can see, there are a few owners of the team who can add people, remove people, and as a member, you cannot do those administrative tasks, but you can collaborate naturally as you would in a team. Now, I can also add members if I wanted to. I can add new members. You always have a scenario where you have somebody new who's joining to the team, and one of the challenges we have today is, hey, if there's a new team member, a lot of people I've seen, what they do is, they will send 10 emails, onboarding emails, and they will, send them a few documents to read and say, hey, here's your onboarding package, and that's how you get started within an organization or a new team. With Microsoft Teams, you just add a new member to this team, and what that does is essentially brings them into this workspace, and they have everything at their fingertips readily available. So you don't have to really spend all the time. People can really ramp up very, very quickly and have everything available without having to reach out to a lot of people in terms of resources and files and whatnot. Now, I can add a new channel. I'll add something here real quick. Let's say I wanted to create a fun channel here. That's something which is missing in this team. It looks a very work-oriented team. I'm just creating a new channel, which is for all the fun stuff. And as you can see, I have a few channels here already. I'm going to dive into one of these channels and see what's going on. So I'm in the go-to-market plan. This is a launch team, and I've structured my team based on legal and compliance, my go-to-market strategy, my digital strategy for the launch plan. It really depends on you how you want to envision and leverage the custom capabilities that come with Microsoft Teams. And when you create a team and have a channel, by default you get a conversation stream, which is where your organic, fluid team conversations are happening out in the open, which is transparent, visible to everyone in that team. So you saw a few team members as part of that team. Everyone can see this conversation stream. You don't have to share it with them separately. I also get, by default, a tab for files. And what files essentially does is it creates a SharePoint site when you spin up a new team. And each channel gets its own folder, and everything you store within this channel is also structured in terms of folder structure and all that in SharePoint. You can directly go to the SharePoint website as well if you wanted and look at these files. But if somebody is not used to SharePoint, it just comes to Teams, a new member, and wants to just work with files, they don't have to worry about, hey, I have to go to another tool and start looking at files. They can slowly ramp up if they want to do more and they want to start learning about SharePoint. They can get used to it in Teams, and then they can start learning more about SharePoint too. I also get a OneNote. For all my team OneNote taking capabilities, I get a OneNote provisioned automatically for my team. And what's cool about this is I can start I can start actually writing directly. If you have inking experiences within the organization that you're using, a lot of people actually like to use natural inking experiences. You can do that directly within Microsoft Teams. You don't have to go to OneNote. It's rendering the same experience here. So you can it automatically saves back, so you can access your OneNote directly again. But if you want to quickly find it, it's right here at your fingertips. Now the power of Microsoft Teams really comes alive when you are able to bring all these applications which otherwise are in different locations. And a lot of times, when you're on a team, you do not know there's so much knowledge which exists within a team. And by bringing them within Microsoft Teams, you're able to democratize and really share that information out. And it's really powerful, when you look at the amount of time you save in a team by not building the same, PowerPoint deck, or not building the same Power BI report when somebody already has done that, and you don't have visibility into it when it's living on its own. By bringing it to Microsoft Teams, you can not only start looking at your project or your team end-to-end, which is using OneNote and all these applications. You can also start interacting. So I can interact with a Power BI dashboard and start looking at the reports within Teams. Very, very powerful when you're able to do that without leaving the context. And our goal here is that, hey, whatever you need for 80% of your scenarios, you're looking at consuming content, you're looking at reading, you're looking at simple edits, you can do that within Microsoft Teams 80% of the time. For 20% of the time, when you need to, let's say, completely change, revamp this report, you go to Power BI, and you might spend some time doing that and save it back to Microsoft Teams. But otherwise, you're really in Microsoft Teams for most of the time. For example, I also have a PowerPoint deck which is pinned here. And what's really cool is I can edit it in Teams too. I can edit in PowerPoint, and I can edit in PowerPoint Online. But I can also edit directly within Microsoft Teams and save it back, which is really powerful. I don't know if you knew about it, but this is a new feature that we've recently added to Microsoft Teams, where you can start editing in line within Teams as well. Now, how you add tabs and build this very powerful team space is by adding tabs. So I could go to my this plus sign here, and as you can see, I can add a bunch of apps as tabs, which is a range of apps from Excel and Power BI and PowerPoint. We saw a couple of examples right now, but there's a whole range of apps that you can bring into Microsoft Teams. And as you would see, it's not just Microsoft apps, but a lot of popular third-party apps that your team might be using, line of business applications that otherwise you would probably be working in a siloed environment. And you don't have to pay anything for the integrations. It is included with Microsoft Teams. So if you have Microsoft Teams license, which is included in most of our SKUs, you can directly get this integration within Microsoft Teams. You don't have to pay for it. As an IT organization, you definitely have the capability to be able to turn on, turn off these third-party apps based on how you deem fit. You think you're ready to let your collaborators bring third-party apps in a Teams environment. If you think you need more time, you can take that time and slowly bring that on. Now, shifting gears a little bit, this is great for team collaboration. You're chatting in a Teams environment, you have everything. But communications is at the heart of collaboration, and you're often chatting. You're talking to one another in a private chat. You're talking over voice and video. And that's where, in Microsoft Teams, we've integrated all of these communications capabilities as well, so you can focus on getting your work done. If you're working with your team member on a project, you want to do a quick call or a quick chat, you can do that right within Microsoft Teams. As you can see here, I have a few chats going on with a few of my team members. I have a few favorites. I can mark my chats as favorites. And if you're familiar with the Skype for Business, instant messaging, you would notice one difference that, hey, this is a continuous persistent chat experience, which is living it's a living chat. So whenever you come back to this chat, it's you picking up from where you left off at. It's not an instant message where it's transient and you send the message and then you start all over again. Now you can also name a group chat. So as you can see, I have 3 participants in this group chat. I've named the group chat so that I can easily find this. If I were looking for this particular chat, it could be a subject topic, or it could be my team name. I can quickly search for it here so that I don't have to spend time looking for it with, if I have like hundreds and thousands of chats going on at the same time. Now, what's powerful is you can also add files. We've had this asked from a lot of our Skype for Business customers too, is, hey, when you're having conversations, it's just not about conversations, you're working on something. So you want to bring your documents and files in that conversations as well. You can really easily do that with Microsoft Teams, where, as you can see, I have uploaded an Excel sheet from my Cloud Drive app. Your Cloud Drive app, it can be OneDrive, and if you're using any of the third-party Cloud Drive apps like Dropbox or Box or Google Drive, you can bring those files along as well. So one of the things that we have done with Teams is it's a very open platform, it's a very open environment. You bring whatever tools you're using. And with file storage, it's the same concept that we would love for you to be on OneDrive for Business, but if you're not yet on OneDrive for Business, you can bring along your rest of your files too. Now, what I can also do is I can look at the organization. Where does somebody sit in the organization in terms of hierarchy? When I'm talking to somebody, so I know that, hey, who I'm talking to, and I can look at my past activity. Well, Enrico hasn't been in the office, it looks like, for a while, so I don't have anything. But I can pin other assets as well. For example, if I wanted to pin a website, as you can see, I've pinned a SharePoint website that we might be building. It's a pet project that we're doing just one-on-one. I can bring that along as well in this chat. So it's a very powerful chat experience. And I also have video calling capabilities, so I can do group video calling, one-on-one video calling, and I have, of course, HD audio as well within Microsoft Teams. Now, you often need to meet as well when you are collaborating. Meetings are a core part of being able to collaborate with your team members. Think of it as, if it's an open office space, you're getting in a huddle room, meeting and collaborating. This is the digital equivalent where you are creating meetings within Microsoft Teams, so it's integrated with Exchange. So whatever it's on Exchange calendar shows up. Here, you can also schedule a new meeting within Microsoft Teams. And we have a dedicated Microsoft Teams meetings session on Thursday, which goes really deep into understanding meetings in Microsoft Teams, what's behind the scenes, what are we thinking in terms of meetings in Teams in the future. But today you can get scheduling experiences in Microsoft Teams. You can invite people from your organization. It's integrated with your Active Directory, of course. So you can see free busy information, scheduling assistant as well. It really allows you to, again, just focus on what you're doing within Teams without having to leave it at all. So I'm going to not create this meeting and discard the changes. However, I wanted to show you, I have a meeting which is already on my calendar here. It's a Microsoft Teams meeting. As you would see, we also have audio conferencing capabilities within Microsoft Teams. This is in preview right now. It's not in the product, but you would have heard our announcement where we're bringing in core meetings capabilities within Microsoft Teams. So today, if you create in preview, if you create an online meeting, you also get your audio conferencing coordinates with it, which is, hey, if you're dialing into a meeting, you can dial in really easily using that audio conferencing dial-in number. Now, when you create a meeting, you can also create a meeting within a channel. So let me go back to where I was in the go-to-market channel. So as you can see, I have a meeting here which I've created. It's a vTeam check-in meeting. Typically, when you create a meeting, it's a private meeting you send to a few people. People who know about the meeting join, that's great. You often drop a few people in a meeting. You don't know you need to include somebody in the team in that meeting. When you create a meeting within a channel, what it does is it creates an instance of that in a channel. So it's a channel meeting, and what that allows you to do is it allows you to hop onto the meeting. It allows you to hop onto the meeting if you have, you haven't gotten the invite, you've missed the invite. So you can also be a part of the meeting and start collaborating. What we're looking to do with meetings is this end-to-end experience where you have a before meeting experience, a during the meeting experience, and after the meeting experience. Because today, often what happens, you meet and you take notes in Outlook, and you do a couple of follow-ups. It's not an end-to-end experience. With Teams, we're looking to reinvent that, where you have knowledge about who you're meeting, because it's integrated with Office Graph, so you know who you're meeting, so you're prepared for your meeting. During the meeting, you can take action items and notes. Within OneNote, you can chat with the participants. And after the meetings, you can do follow-up and look at your recordings of the meeting in the cloud. So that's something which we are working on right now, cloud recording of a Microsoft Teams meeting. Now I'll quickly switch over to this browser experience. And this is a new apps experience that I wanted to show you. So as you can see, I have a few apps which are suggested to me. These are some of the popular apps. I can also search for applications based on my line of business and categories. So let's say I wanted to focus on customer support. And as you can see, a lot of the popular application, if you're in customer support, you may be already using one of these tools for managing your customer conversations. So you can bring that along as well. This is, again, in preview. You'll be seeing some of that coming in the product. All right. We'll look at a few more demos later in the session, but just quickly recapping what we heard. So we have 4 key pillars within Microsoft Teams. It's the core communications platform, where we're bringing in intelligent communications capabilities as well, where it becomes the single client experience for Microsoft Teams and Skype for Business. If you go to our blog announcement from yesterday, you'll find more about that as well. It's integrated with Office apps, including Power BI and Planner and the whole suite of applications. It's customizable and extensible, and this is the new app experience that I was showing you earlier. We are working with 150 partners to unlock productivity. We have almost more than 50 integrations today in Microsoft Teams, and a whole lot more coming in the applications very shortly. These are some of the examples that you might be familiar with. I'm sure a lot of you are using some of these applications, but if not, I definitely recommend checking those integrations out if you're already using. And if any of you are a developer, if you're a developer in the room, this might be of interest to you. You can bring your applications, you can build applications as well for Microsoft Teams, because it really allows you a great platform for building applications where you have a great enterprise application that you want to bring not just for your team, but also extend it for the industry. If you think somebody will benefit from this app, you can actually publish an app for Microsoft Teams. It goes to the Office Store. Once it's approved by the team, you can actually make it available as an app within Microsoft Teams. So it's a really powerful platform for developers if you're looking to start building apps for Microsoft Teams, enterprise applications just for your organization as well. And last but not the least, enterprise security and manageability. We touched base on this a little bit. Now, look at some of the use cases. You might be wondering, hey, this is great. I can do a lot of things within Microsoft Teams. How do I start thinking about using Microsoft Teams in my organization? What are some of the use cases? What are some of the examples? One of the very obvious ones is, if you look at project management across any industry, across any team. If you're managing a project, stakeholder management, communications, you're bringing your Planner, Power BI reports, you're looking at content management, you're looking at version history for your SharePoint files. All of that, whatever you do end-to-end project management, you can really be more efficient and add business agility to your project management within Microsoft Teams. Similarly, operations, if you're doing any operations-related activity within Microsoft Teams. If you're a marketing organization, if you're running campaigns, digital campaigns, or you're running web design, revamp, for example, you can manage all of that. We're also working with Adobe, which is a recent integration we announced for all the collaborators. If you're working with design files, Adobe Creative Cloud integration within Microsoft Teams allows you to directly access your Creative Cloud files within Microsoft Teams. If you're an engineering organization, you're looking at applications like Visual Studio and Zira, where you can bring all of that, again, within Microsoft Teams. So a whole wide range of applications. I really encourage you to think about how you can bring Microsoft Teams, think of the use cases in your organization across all of these teams, and find a team where you can pilot. You can find a use case, find a team champion across these different use cases. We have all the applications. We're working with a lot of partners to enable line of business scenarios too. Now, talking about customers and the momentum we are seeing in the industry today, we already have more than 125,000 customers using Microsoft Teams today. It's available in 25 languages in 181 markets. So it's available for you to use, in whatever market you are, and we're already seeing huge traction in these different verticals and horizontals that we looked at. Now, I wanted to invite one of our customers today on stage, Patience Wooton. She's been driving digital transformation for Denso Aegis Network. They have a goal of 100% digital by 2020, and she's an Office 365 product manager responsible for adoption and driving some of this change that we are seeing today. So Patience, welcome to the stage. Great to have you here today. Over to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Good. So we'll get over the boring bit first. So my name is Patience. I'm not going to make any jokes on that at all. We're just going to go straight to who we are. So we are a global media company at Denso Aegis Network. We are innovating the way in which our brands are built. We have over 40,000 people in the company across 5 continents and 24 different time zones. So in essence, we're spread out. We have a strategy to be 100% digital by 2020. And we're doing a massive digital transformation, which I'm sure most of you are as well, in order to move from a traditional to a modern workplace. But as we've been doing this, we've been navigating some pretty strong currents. And I wanted to share them with you. This is what we're up against. Change. We are an oil tanker. We might not want to be, but we are. But we really, really want to be a speedboat. We want to go as fast as we can. In this digital economy, it is going at the absolute slowest that it will go today. It's going to get faster. How can we compete? How can we do better with our clients? Denso Aegis Network has a hugely aggressive growth rate. In 2014, 2013, we were 15,000 people. By 2020, we're expected to be over 75,000. We had 41 acquisitions just last year. So we're growing at a really aggressive rate, and we must have a hyper-scalable platform in which to serve our company and our clients. Collaboration across app, across service, across cloud, across hybrid, across environment. There is so much collaboration. It's not just humans, it's applications as well. I think shadow IT is perhaps more rife today than it ever has been, because if your company is not going to go fast enough, someone else will. How do you maintain that? Across client, across brand, we have perhaps 7 brands working with any one client at any one time. And of course, across geography. So in terms of a network of our size, I think that goes without saying. I've never met 50% of the people that I work with every single day. I probably never will. In terms of governance, we are one tenant, which means one tenant, which means one change, which means that we tend to be very cautious about affecting our entire company. Best practices. We have 150 brands in our network. How can we decide what best practices are for each and every brand? We can't. And GDPR is coming in next year for Europe, and we have a huge presence in Europe. Perhaps there's one thing that I haven't mentioned up here, and that is human mindset. How do you change the mindset of one person? How do you change the mindset of 4 different generations in one workplace? We say we're innovative. We say we're agile. We say we're productive, collaborative. We keep saying all these words, but are we actually doing them? This was our Office 365 rollout. It's pretty agile, right? Release a product, we test it, beta, go live. We thought we were really agile. This was how we did a rollout. We would immediately turn everything off, and we'd really, really think about it. How can we manage this? How can we keep control? And we do an alpha test. So an alpha essentially is just testing between our product team. I haven't mentioned I only have one person full-time in my team, my tech lead. So me and him would test. And we would decide, OK, this looks pretty good. We're ready. We'll let the other early adopters test. But we would only let IT test. And IT predominantly had Windows laptops. But we still felt we were being pretty agile. And of course, when we were ready, we would communicate via email, of course, our friend. And we would send comms 1, this app, it's nearly coming, it's going to change your life. App 2, comms 2, it's nearly here, keep an eye out. Comms 3 would be, this is here, the world is your oyster, you are going to be more productive than anything else. But nothing would happen. We had given you the yellow pages of documentation to help, to support. But nothing happened. We would have 20 people trying an application. Why wasn't Fred from finance wanting to use Sway to do his budget forecast? We couldn't understand it. We'd given them this app. We had planned it so well. Why didn't he want to use it? And then something happened. Teams happened. And the business came to us, and they told us what to do. They dictated to technology, give us this application. Well, but we hadn't planned it. We hadn't prepared the comms. We hadn't prepared the user guides. That would take weeks. So eventually we said, fine, you can have it, if you must have it. And we put up 1 Yammer post. 1 Yammer post. Teams, it's over there. You can have it if you really want it. But there's no support. There's no comms. This is what happened. We had 300 people in 1 week. We had 800 in 4 weeks. They were requesting, we had no service desk tickets. No one even cared. They were fine. So we were looking around thinking, do they even need us? You know, we have 5,000 people now actively using Teams across 67 different countries. So we really thought about it, and we thought, well, perhaps we hadn't given them the applications that they needed. We need to remember that this is a creative company. We are a creative brand. They don't care what technology they're using. They just need to do their job. And their job is not technology. Their job is creativity. It's using videos. It's creating advertising. They didn't need the other tools that we had given them to do what this cross-collaboration hub was doing. So we took the time to go and talk to various different people. And one brand in particular, a brand called Gyro. So Gyro is a B2B agency. Gyro work in a hugely high velocity of short-term projects. They're very, very fast-paced, and they need to share content real time. They need to share files. They need to hold conversations. And cover your ears, Microsoft, they were a Slack house. And they were very happy there. Now, they got acquired by Dentsu Aegis Network in 2016, which meant that they needed to be on the ecosystem of Office 365 in which to share, collaborate, and work with the other brands. But they also needed to use Slack because they had to have this space in which to work. So when Teams came along, it provided them with this exact platform. Again, we didn't really get involved. It doesn't really reflect that well on me, but it reflects very well on Teams, that we didn't really get involved until I had a conversation with them just last week. The second thing that really helped is in media, we have a hugely high turnover. It can be up to 35% a year. The reason being is people tend to move around brands, you move around networks, and that's okay. But one thing that it does cause is a huge amount of noise. The noise is wasting people's time by bringing an account manager up to speed. Now, there's a couple of risks here. You've got the waste of time for someone bringing the person up to speed. You've got potential data loss by trying to find that file that you might have stored somewhere else. Or worse still, it could be in that person's personal OneDrive, and they've gone. Email conversations are lost, and so therefore you've just got to find the content very quickly. And it's quite disruptive for a client. Now with Teams, what they do is they get the new account manager, call him Fred from finance, they drop him in, and he has all of the conversation history, and he can read that himself. He's got all the files, and he's got all the OneNote agenda meetings, notes from the meetings. He doesn't even need to speak to that person. That is so much more effective for the client, and there's no data loss. The second thing that Gyro did really well was implement their own best practices. So I've had various conversations with people this week, or just yesterday, about how to implement governance. Now, for a company of our size, I don't believe that we should be telling the companies how to behave. I think that we should create a secure structure and then let people run and implement their own best practices. So Gyro have done really simple things. What they've done is they've said to their own company, come to us, and we'll create the first bit of Teams for you. Even though anyone in the company can create a team, they said, come to us, we'll do you a favor. It's value-added IT. So they create the name. Now, this might not sound very exciting or very clever, but for a company of 40,000 people, naming convention is quite important. If I created a team called Denso Aegis Network, and the CEO wanted to create that name, he can't, because I've got it. How pointless is my team compared to the one that he would be using? The second thing they did was they created the channels. The channels would be created according to the way in which they roll out projects. And the third thing that they would do is they'd create a wiki page. And in that wiki page, I had 3 simple things. This is how Gyro use Teams, this is what we put in, and this is what we absolutely do not put in the team. Simple. It's simple. They've leveraged the capability that Teams gave them. They've created consistency. And now they're looking, okay, well, we've done this. What else can we do? So now they're looking at the connectivity. So this is where I see a huge amount of power. So this extensibility. So having a hub, that single pane of glass, and adding your business-critical applications into there via sideloading. So this is what we've been doing recently. They've got one application that they absolutely have to use. And so we've sideloaded it in. So now that means that when they're working on their files, when they're working on their conversations, they don't leave that space. You have to continue to innovate. And this is one of the reasons that I really like Teams. You see, cross-collaboration of apps, it's so much more powerful than we realized. You might recognize this diagram. This is our traditional approach on the left-hand side. This was our hand-holding. And on the right is our modern approach. You see, we've automated 90% of our rollout. The beta test used to take us 150 hours, so 5 hours per day of me managing it, because it was all manual. Now, what we've done, and this is only, I'd like to point out, as of last week, we've made it 2 minutes per day, or 75 minutes for an entire application rollout. So what we do is we create a form. You create the form, and the user says, OK, I want to use this application. They fill in their details. We try and keep it to 5 questions. So now we've got business insight. We know why they needed to use it, and we know what it was that they were missing. We then create a workflow using Flow behind. It creates a SharePoint list, and it puts all of the details into there. Another flow then sends you, Fred from finance, who's asked for the details of the app, and you get an automated notification that says, hey, Fred, this is on its way. Give us a couple of days, or hopefully not that long. We'll then create another flow via Teams, and it will notify our tech team to say, hey, this person's requested the form or the app. Can you give it to them? Again, we have not got involved. That tech team will then, my one person, will then drop in that name into the AD group with the relevant application. and it will trigger another email. Hey, Fred, you've now got the app. Use it. Your life will change. You see, that's traditional and that's modern. We didn't really know what we were doing. We hadn't actively thought, okay, we're going to use Teams for this. It just made sense. And I think ultimately what we're trying to do is move away from the meaningless tasks that we could automate. So this process that we've done here has saved 18 days per beta rollout for myself, which means in the last year, we've rolled out 6 different applications. That's 113 days that we've saved by doing that automation. That took us 20 minutes to set up. Now, that doesn't mean, Mr. CFO, that you can fire us. What it means is that we now have more time to do really high-value tasks, high-value projects, innovate. So, I just want to summarize really quickly. I feel as though moving from a traditional to a modern workplace is a real challenge, but I think if you work together and you iterate, you can improve. I think Teams will help you do that. I think we've come over what we call wave 1. So we've established the foundations. We've got the best practices in place. We understand that we're going to use the OneNote, the wiki. And now what we're going to do is wait for wave 2. You see, we've realized that we don't need to create heaps of documentation. We have 63% millennials in our company. They look at an Instagram post for less than 1 second. Why are we giving them documentation? They don't care. In terms of governance, we've learned to trust that we've invested in Office 365 and we've invested in that platform. So we have to empower people. We can't keep the Office store off and not let people download if we're going to let them have a mobile phone, but not put an MDM solution over the top. How much are we impeding productivity versus enabling? So wave 2, this is the guest access. This is where we will see true benefit for our 11,000 different clients. And I'm delighted to say that Laith is going to be talking to us a lot more about that now. So I'm going to hand over straight to you.
Thank you, Patient. What a powerful story, yeah. So, no doubt, changing culture is absolutely important, and it's absolutely possible. My name is Laith. I am a PM in Microsoft Teams. I own guest access, identity, and authentication for Microsoft Teams. Today, I will be talking about guest access, one of our most, if not the most requested features on Microsoft Teams user voice. More than 4,000 votes have occurred for this feature. As Praveen and Patience mentioned, there is no doubt about that Office 365 and Microsoft Teams is the hub of Office 365. It brings together the best features across Office 365 application in an easy and fashionable way. With Microsoft Teams External Access, we would like to enable and empower every single organization on the planet in all industries of all sizes to easily and securely collaborate with users from external organizations. Those external users can be granted a holistic or a selective access to participate in Microsoft Teams channels, chat, files, and even third-party or first-party applications. Let's start with defining who guests can be and what they are in Microsoft Teams. A guest user in Microsoft Teams is an individual or an organization that have an email address associated with an Azure Active Directory or Office 365. And those type of accounts we refer usually to as either work or school accounts. If you don't hold such an account, as of our capability set and feature release that we just released a few weeks ago, you cannot invite a guest to our Microsoft Teams. So it's really important that as of our initial release that you invite someone whom have an email address that corresponds to an Azure Active Directory or an Office 365 account. Once those users are invited, what is happening behind the scenes is we rely 100% on Azure Active Directory business-to-business platform. So what happens behind the scenes when the invite is initiated, we are provisioning a new user type in the directory, so-called user type guest. That user type, it's fully owned and managed by IT admins within your organizations. The only thing that falls outside of your organization manageability is the way that entity will authenticate. So when the guest user tries to access a team in your tenant, we will basically have him authenticating in his home tenant and coming back with a valid token or with a valid ticket that we then can, for instance, enforce extra security compliance policies on, let's say multi-factor authentication. Another thing, and because we rely on Azure Active Directory B2B platform, you as an IT administrator can take advantage of this feature within literally minutes. You do not have to go out and invest in external trust, complex directory federations, new passwords or new usernames for those guest users. None of that is actually needed. IT admins will be reusing the tools that they are familiar with, whether if it's from an identity perspective, which is Azure Active Directory portal, or an Office 365 admin center. You can quickly and easily have a list of all the guests that has been invited. You can revoke their access. You can, as I mentioned, enforce enhanced or additional security policies so that you meet your business and security compliance requirement. Guest users or guest access can be leveraged with your Microsoft team today at no additional cost. You don't have to go and reinvest in additional SKUs or in additional licenses. Each user you add to your tenant can easily, without any additional licenses association, access teams, participate in channels, upload files within the teams, leverage the OneNote, do wiki. The only thing you want to keep in mind is for third-party applications, if you want those guest users to access and leverage them, you might want to consult your third-party vendor in terms of how and what entitlement model would be required. A guest user in AAD in Azure Active Directory, from a security principle perspective, is the same as a regular user. We just differentiate them by the type. And because of that, those guest users are subject to Azure Active Directory and Office 365 service limits. For example, one of the limits we have in the directory today, you can have 500,000 security principal, meaning users and groups. So those users, as you add them, count into that quota. That limit, it's extensible. So if you want to, you can purchase additional SKUs or the premium version of Azure Active Directory to basically have an unlimited number of security principals, which also includes guest users. One of the things from an engineering perspective that was top in mind, at least from my side and my engineering folks, is we didn't want to distinct the guest experience as an alien experience, right? We want him to be as a first-class citizen as possible, of course, with respect to compliance and security. So as you see on the table, a guest user can more or less do any of the tasks or do any of the capabilities as a team user. And most of those settings are configurable and manageable by IT admins first and foremost at the tenant level. So you can define settings, you can enforce policies at your tenant level that will be respected by all of the guest users in any team those users be added to. You can also empower your team owners to enforce, configure, enable guest-specific setting within their team. For instance, you can allow a guest user to create channels, update channels, and even delete them if that's what you wanted. Beside, or in addition, we have made some proactive decisions on your behalf to make sure that there is no security or compliance violation. One of which is in Teams, as a member today, you can go in and you can discover public teams. You can join them easily and quickly. And if the team happens to be in private, soon you will be able to request access to that team. For guest user in particular, that functionality we have disabled. So you, as IT administrators and or team owners, are the only authoritative source of which grant access to those guest users. Another feature we have in Teams that I use every day, which is the view organizational chart. As you know, Microsoft, it's a huge company, so sometimes I want to know what people reports to whom, in which country, in which department. That feature, because it might expose sensitive data of your organizational hierarchy to those guest users, is also disabled. I have been working with many customers and MVPs and partners to make sure that even our first release incorporate as much as possible of your requirements. So the decision we made as of our release is guest access in Microsoft Teams is disabled by default. There is an option or a toggle within the Microsoft Teams settings in the Office 365 Admin Center that you need to toggle on. I have a more deep dive session on Thursday about the architecture and what options and the authorization dependency that we have with other services that you are more than welcome to join to hear more about administrative capabilities at the tenant level. So with that, let me go ahead and show you how it actually works. So I'll be switching screens. All right. So I'm logged in to Microsoft Teams as myself. There are a few indicators here that indicates to me I am within my home tenant, as we refer to it. What I will do here, I'm an owner of this particular team. So I will go ahead and I will start adding member to this team. The first thing you would notice is we have added a banner. We have added a learn more URL so that your team owners can go in and educate themselves of this new feature. In this case, I will be inviting an external vendor from teamsftw.com. So the first thing you will see, the user is identified as a guest, and I can go ahead and add him to this team. Now, to save time, I have already added him to the team. So what happened as I added Tony to the team is we start populating guest indicators so that other team members become immediately aware of my action. So the first thing you would see here is there is now a guest user added to this team. And of course, I do realize that in a channel, you might have a fast base of collaboration, so this broadcast might be easily pushed up at the top with no further notice. What we also added is a banner at the Teams level, at the channel level, that indicates that the existence of guest users. If you click on that, we will take you directly into the member table or the member view of that team. And you also notice there is another banner, and you notice there is a guest user added here. That additional information I have added, which is in this case title and location, is fully manageable by IT admins at the tenant level. So what happens on the other side is Tony has received an email letting him know that he now have been invited to as a guest to the Contoso tenant. This is the particular team's name, and there is a small description indicating what kind of team he's been invited to. And that's all manageable by your team owners. Another experience we built in exclusively to Teams from a guest access perspective, we built this notification or an app redemption experience, letting Tony know that he'd been added to the team without even going back and forth between Teams and an email. So from the user profile, you can see I now have this new tenant called Contoso, and it's clearly highlighted as it's a guest tenant. So what I will be doing now is I will be switching tenants, or I will be switching context from my home teams to my guest tenant team. So a few things will happen, or actually already happened, as part of my switch. One of the things that quickly happened is I re-authenticated against my home tenant, which means I have verified my credentials. If I happen to have multi-factor authentication in Formest, I would have been popped up on my phone, or I've been receiving a text message or a phone call. But that happens, as you saw, very rapidly and very quickly. Now I am fully logged in as a guest. I can go in and collaborate with everybody within this team. Oops. I can mention team members from the team I am in. I can go ahead and participate in chat. I can do video calls, audio calls in chat. I can also participate in meetings. I can share files within my team, and so forth and so on. Additional experiences, and this is due to the reason that we rely on groups as our groups membership and data classification platform. You will see the data classification and the indicators are further respected even when I'm in as a guest. So assume I have completed my tasks within this group as a guest. I can easily from my profile card switch back to my home tenant and participate as a full team member within my own tenancy. Very quickly, I will show you that same experience we have added on mobile. So in this case, I am on an iOS device. This is Teams. So if I go to More, I see the Contoso tenant as guest. I click on it, and I'm immediately in as a guest user. For the record, Android support has been released to the marketplace this week. iOS support we anticipate to be released early next week. And as I mentioned, this feature is now fully available, rolled out worldwide to every single tenant that we have. You just have to remember that you need to toggle it. I really hope this has been informative for you. I will be around. We will be at the booth. Thank you so much.
That was a great demo, Laith. Thank you so much. So as you can see, we're really expanding the collaboration capabilities within Microsoft Teams. The next step for us would be, hey, how can we take this capability and make it available for consumer emails as well? So this is Azure B2B today. A lot of you are working with customers who may not have an Office 365 account. You want to invite them as well into a Teams environment and have them collaborate naturally. This is an expectation today. So that's something which we're working on, so stay tuned and learning more about that as well. One thing I didn't mention is the mobile clients. If you haven't downloaded the mobile clients, I think you can start using @Ignite. You can start, if you have folks who are on Microsoft Office 365, you can create a team and start chatting and stay connected with the mobile app. You can actually access all your documents and files and everything on the go on your mobile app. You don't have to use your laptop to be able to do that. A couple of quick things. I wanted to share some resources to learn more. We've recently launched this new Success with Teams website. So if you go to aka.ms Success with Teams, you'll be able to find and learn more, including the communications capabilities coming into Microsoft Teams. So you'll learn more about, hey, I'm a Skype for Business user. How do I start thinking about the future and looking at communications capabilities within Microsoft Teams? How do I start chatting with somebody who's in Skype for Business and Microsoft Teams? So a lot of details around that. Definitely recommend checking that out. We have our Teams roadmap. We have a public roadmap which is available, so you can go check out what's on the roadmap for the next 6 to 9 months, what's coming, and if you see something which you would like to see, we have a user voice platform which lets you submit requests. You already see a lot of user voice items there, so if you think you need something, please go and vote for it. That definitely helps us prioritize things within the Teams engineering roadmap too. If you're a developer, we also have a Teams developer website, so ak.ms Teams developer, where you have a lot of resources, how to get started if you're looking at building apps. and you want to find some resources. And if you have any support or complaints, we definitely have team support website as well. With that, don't forget to evaluate the session. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you have any questions, we have 5 minutes. I wanted to leave 5 minutes for Q&A. Please use the mics in the room to ask questions. All 3 of us are here to answer questions. Come on. Yeah.
Are you able to give any kind of update on channels with different membership than the parent team, when that might be coming?
So that's a shared channel concept. This is something which we're working on. I don't have a date to share, but I can tell you that that's something which is on our roadmap, but not a date yet. Yeah.
I'm all good for this new workflow, new workplace type of a thing, but is there any way to sort of control the provisioning and so you don't get Wild West and all these, wonderful users who are learning to work this new way say, hey, where's my stuff? Find it for me. And
yes, a couple of things we've done. One is, to help people on board, we've built a help chatbot. So if you're in Teams and you're looking to get started and looking for information, you can get started with a chatbot and you ask questions on how to do things.
I'm really talking about controlling the provisioning of a team, and to begin with, rather than click, 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 and there's 10 different teams for the one identical thing. And so, you can obviously see that the productivity
you can control it at groups level. Maybe Leth can share more about that.
Yeah, correct. So we are also working on enhancing our APIs from an administrator perspective so that you can have more control over provisioning at scale, the classification of those teams that get to be provisioned. Keep in mind, teams rely on SharePoint to store the data, groups to classify the data, et cetera, et cetera. So your deployment investments that you already have done can easily be reapplied again. But the part of, I think you are asking for, which is, do I have tools, do I have APIs or even commandlets to control that? That is something we are certainly working on. Can I just basically
say, nobody can create groups or teams or whatever except these people, and then
you can do that today.
Request has to be submitted
at a groups level. You can do that today. You can
you
can set policies on who can create groups, and that effectively means who can create teams.
Does that block everything when you say this people can create groups?
Yeah, you can do that today.
Okay, thank you.
I noticed in your demo you talked about being able to have a quick voice call or talk with the guests. Does that bypass the existing Skype client policies, the existing Skype federation?
So guest access, you can only have an audio or a video call from within Teams. So those are the audio and video settings in Teams that you would specify in your tenant that are inherited and respected. Your Skype settings and federation is independent from the Teams guest experience.
All right, please consider that control for the future. We're not as modern as Patient's Company, and we need to restrict that kind of conversations.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the feedback.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's say the user that created this team is terminated. What happens with all the information?
So what happens when an employee or a user is terminated will happen to the team's content. So you can archive that content. You can apply, for instance, in place hold policy that will specify the amount of time the content get to be held. You can delegate the team ownership to a different user, so you promote another member to be the owner of that team.
How is to track all the teams that are created in your company?
Excuse me?
How do you track all the teams that are created in your company?
So we're working on a lot of analytics for IT, where you can track how many teams are getting created, how many channels. Today we have that information, but it's not exposed to you in the admin center. That's what we're working on, which is, hey, we can look at, we are seeing these trends and best practices. How can we expose that to you within admin center? So you can look at, hey, are these the right usage patterns? How many teams are getting created? Are people having only private chats and not team conversations, which maybe not what Teams is intended for if you're just having private chats. So some of these analytics tools we are bringing into admin center, Office 365
So that's
admin
in the
center.
pipeline too.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's
Yes.
something which we've heard quite a lot from our customers. So yeah,
Great.
thanks.
Couple questions. Number one, on the guest access.
Yep.
Does that support the Azure B2B viral tenant concept? Or do you actually have to have, your guest actually has to have a working or a real Azure AD account?
You have to have, as of our first release, an Azure Active Directory tenant for that guest user.
So you do not support the
Microsoft
viral tenant?
account, which is what you are referring to, is something that we are working on and we will be releasing in the nearest future.
Okay. And then second question, can you brand the application?
You can brand the, what do you mean, sorry?
So like, for example, change purple to my company colors or put...
So we support theming, so you can change from inbuilt themes, from dark themes and the theme that you saw today. We'll be working on more customization, but today that's the extent of customization. You can't really brand, you can bring your custom brand into Teams, but I mean that's definitely good feedback. We're working on two aspects. One is how can you customize it in terms of colors and themes. That's already in there in the product, but I think bringing your brand and exposing that in Teams, that's something which we can take back to the product team.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The gentleman down there, quickly.
Yeah, so my question is more in regards to the clientless join to a Teams meeting. So one of the biggest pain points of Skype for Business for our particular organization is we deal with a lot of clients, and so when we schedule a Skype for Business meeting, they have to download a plugin in order to interact with us, or they have to have the actual Skype client. Since Teams is built with WebRTC in mind, what is the workflow? Do they need to have this guest access in order to join one of these meetings, or can they just simply be a part of the meeting, not necessarily seeing the Teams and the channel content or anything like that? I'm talking purely about a Teams meeting versus a Skype for Business meeting.
Yeah, so today your meeting experience is also coming in as a guest and being able to join it. You can join on the browser, plug-in free. If you can join on the desktop client too. The next step for us is doing that anonymous join that you're talking about from Skype for Business, which is
okay. So they do need to have the Azure Active Directory account
today,
in order for that to work today.
Yeah. But it's one of our high priority items to enable an anonymous guest join experience on the browser without downloading any plugins at all.
Okay, so that is coming.
Yeah. Today you can do a browser-free plugin experience coming in as a guest who is already part of the team, or as a regular user of Teams.
Right.
So we already have the foundational of WebRTC and being able to run everything on the browser. The next step is being able to invite an anonymous user into that meeting.
And what browsers are not supported?
So that's, other than Safari, I think we support most of the modern browsers. Safari support is not there today.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes, please.
So our organization is still using Skype for Business. We have on-premise servers. We haven't started utilizing the Microsoft Teams, even though it's been automatically rolled out to our end users via SharePoint site creation. We're actually going in and removing those abilities. My question's more centered on how soon will you, for example, in Skype for Business, we can use Skype accounts, we can use external people that don't have Azure AD accounts, Azure, they're not Microsoft tenants. How far off on your roadmap are you from allowing non-Azure AD entities to be able to integrate with Teams? Because that's going to be a cutover decision for us when we go full-fledged with this.
It is. I fully agree. We are looking at it. We are working on it. I unfortunately cannot give you any timeline on that.
That's understandable. But it's a top priority on your roadmap.
But more than definitely, as the blog post were announced yesterday, it is a priority.
And when you release that, will you use that Office 365 admin notifications like you do the rest of your features too?
Teams is no different than Exchange or SharePoint or any of our core component of Office 365. We follow the same rhythm, we follow the same deployment processes, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure, it's just a limitation for us not to have, non-Microsoft tenants
Correct.
be able to, integrate in phone and chat and desktop sharing and things of that nature. So for us, it's not an option, even though it's rolled out automatically. It's not an option.
Valid point and super valid.
So just keep an eye out for the feature to be released.
Absolutely.
And we don't know when though. Like not any roadmap. Okay.
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi. Are you planning to provide audio and video calls to the mobile app soon?
To what?
Mobile, to the mobile app.
It's already there, yes. You can do, audio video call on mobile apps on Android, iOS, and Windows. You can also do meetings as well on mobile, so you can join a meeting. You can see content as well on the mobile phone, on tablets and phones.
Okay, so it's there now.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, you should be able to. You should actually download the app, and if you have an account, you should totally try calling some of your,
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
You may have already answered this with an earlier gentleman, but we're primarily interested in compliance. We have a lot of data, and this is another source of generating new data. Our compliance is such that we need to remove data every 90 days. Now, there may be some teams that need to bypass that, but how is Teams integrated into security and compliance? Does it use the same methods? And or is there a separate way of doing it? Or can I just point to Teams and add it to our current policy?
Yeah, so real short, I'll tell you there's a dedicated session on that tomorrow, which our compliance experts, two product managers, Mark Longton and Anshuman Acharya, try to find that it's compliance in Teams. Essentially, that'll give you like breakdown of what does it mean from compliance standpoint. How do I do it? E-discovery, audit, but very briefly, it's essentially using Exchange for your conversations, group conversations. All the files are stored in SharePoint, so whatever compliance policies you have on your files on Exchange policies, those carry forward to Teams as well. So in terms of new sources, I mean. Later, do you have more information on what new data sources?
So I think we have to shut this thing down now. We will be around, so let's chat about that offline. Thank you.
Yeah, let's take the questions offline. We are here for a bit.